Apple is getting sued by the United States government. The first Neuralink patient speaks out, and AMD's fixing all of the graphics things. Woo! Let's get into hot news, everybody. I'm your Brett host. We're going to be going over the hottest tech news I can find on the internet while you enjoy your breakfast this Friday, March 22nd, 2024. And we're going to just jump into the biggest discussion point of the last day, which is the fact that the United States government, as well as several local states, have decided to sue Apple for anti-competitive monopolistic practices that put other competitors at a major disadvantage. One of the things that got brought up is, hey, it's not illegal to be a monopoly here in the US, but it is illegal to play Monopoly with not by house rules. Additionally, it's illegal to have a monopoly where you make it so that competitors actually can't compete with you. So this is happening after it was reported earlier in this year that the US government was kind of looking into this, and they have finally launched all of their accusations against Apple, including some big ones such as disrupting super apps that encompass many different programs that could degrade iOS stickiness by making it easier for iPhone users to switch to competing devices, blocking cloud streaming apps for things like video games that would lower the need for more expensive hardware, suppressing the quality of messaging between the iPhone and competing platforms like Android, and limiting the functionality of third-party smartwatches with its iPhones and making it harder for Apple Watch users to switch from the iPhone due to compatibility issues, and blocking third-party developers from creating competing digital wallets with tap-to-pay functionality for the iPhone. Now, a lot of those are kind of already being addressed over in the EU. Things like the quality of messaging has been addressed by the EU courts, but it's not necessarily a guarantee that Apple is going to bring that over here to the American shores. So the US is trying to sue Apple into making all of that happen, which I've seen that's kind of one of the biggest responses to this, is that like Apple's working on it, which I mean they are, but in a completely different region of the globe that has nothing to do with American customers. Additionally, while some of this might sound like, oh, Apple's not letting the Apple Watch work with Android, the problem isn't that that's the case. It's really the fact that they limit things like their APIs from working with third-party software, making it so that if somebody even wanted to do it on their own dime, they aren't asking Apple to support anything. They're just going to make it themselves. Apple is actively making it so they can't do that and have comparable features to what Apple gives their first-party stuff. And so that's the biggest problem here, with the US government saying for years Apple responded to competitive threats by imposing a series of whack-a-mole contractual rules and restrictions that have allowed Apple to extract higher prices from consumers, impose higher fees on developers and creators, and to throttle competitive alternatives from rival technologies. I think one of the most interesting ones is just the cloud streaming thing, because this is coming up time and time again, at least in my circles and the people I talk to and kind of just where I evaluate gaming. It doesn't seem like cloud gaming is a huge deal, but this was also a huge sticking point when it came to Microsoft being able to purchase Activision Blizzard. They had to make sure that these games are going to be on cloud streaming services like GeForce Now, otherwise they weren't allowed to go forward with the acquisition. So to hear that's also a problem for Apple, I'm like confused, because that just gives that entire sector more validity than I personally give it myself, which maybe I need to check my biases on that. But I think the general sentiment that I saw on the internet with regards to the US suing Apple is good. About time. Hot dang, why did this take so long? Apple does suck. A lot of the ideas on the other side where people are calling this into question is just saying that it's kind of mal-argued. Some of the arguments aren't really structured very well. Additionally, a lot of the language in this lawsuit seems to assume that the end user lacks autonomy and the ability to decide for themselves. So we're just gonna have to see how this plays out in the courts. This is likely gonna take a long time to resolve. Apple has very deep wallets. They obviously will be hiring lawyers to fight this, but it is intriguing to see something like this happen. I mean, this is very comparable to an event like the US suing Microsoft back in the day for its monopoly with bundling things like Internet Explorer with Microsoft Windows, because it was just anti-competitive to other web browsers out there. So again, I think this is a monumental moment. I want to see how it plays out. Let me know what you think of it. I'm curious to hear everything and respond to all of that on Friday's comment response. But you know what we have today? Kyler! What? You know what today is?
No.
It's Dragon's Dogma 2 Day!
I wouldn't. No, I can't play it.
Why can't you play it?
Computer.
Oh yeah, Kyler's computer is kind of stuck here at the office, but you know what? Dragon's Dogma 2 is here, and today's video sponsor, Green Man Gaming, wants you to get it for a great price over on their website, because Green Man Gaming partners with the publishers and developers to make sure that you're getting great prices on these games, and you can pick up Dragon's Dogma 2 for less than it costs at retail traditionally. It's currently 14% off for the standard edition. In case you want to pick up that deluxe edition, it's the same percentage off, meaning that the deluxe edition is cheaper than the standard edition if you go with Green Man Gaming for it. And while Kyler's excited to play Dragon's Dogma 2, but can't because I'm keeping his PC here at the office, our other employee Michael is very excited to play. He's going to play it day one because his PC is still sitting at home. So you can save 14% on Dragon's Dogma 2, but in case that doesn't pique your interest, they also have their spring sale going on where you can pick up keys from Green Man Gaming as well on games like Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate, Final Fantasy VII Reunion, Final Fantasy 15. They got a Square Enix deal going on right now with the spring sale. I actually picked up Crisis Core myself, the Reunion one, because I'm playing Rebirth right now and I wanted to make sure that I have the entire story wrapped up, so I'm excited to play that on my Steam Deck, which they actually have Steam Deck verified games that you can view together in order to get them on sale with Green Man Gaming spring sale, as well as looking at it through various publishers in case you want to check it out. So either get yourself a savings on Dragon's Dogma 2, 14% off today on launch day, or you can check out the spring sale. Green Man Gaming has a lot for you to love, enjoy, and that character customizer in Dragon's Dogma 2. Oh my goodness, Kyle, did you go back to that at all?
No.
Okay, well, you could get some creatures in that thing, I'll tell you what. Big thanks to Green Man Gaming for sponsoring today's video. But now let's get back to Apple, talking a little bit about the software side of things, because Epic Game Store is coming to iOS. Yay! Everybody's most beloved gaming store that everybody uses to not just get the free games is going to be available on iPhone and iOS later this year over in Europe, with Epic saying that because of the ruling of the anti-steering competitive practices that Apple's been doing, where they're trying to make it so that you can't pay on different platforms, they're now allowed to do this over in the EU, and so Epic Games is going to charge 12%, which is less than the 30% that Apple currently takes, which is a move that Epic Games has done with regards to competing with Steam here on the PC, but doesn't seem like it's garnered a whole lot of people enjoying it for what it is. Most people, I think, consider Epic Games to be a inferior launcher to what Steam has, and the entire experience is less robust. I mean, the fact that I can't install my games on an external drive and plug that external drive into a different computer and find those files and make it easy, it's so much worse on Epic Games than it is on Steam. Maybe there's a way to do it and I haven't found the workaround just yet, but it is a little frustrating. But in case you have the dissenting opinion of you think Epic Games is better than Steam, I want to hear from you. Make sure to justify your reasoning in the comments. But Reddit seems justified because it finally went public here in the US. Its IPO debut happened yesterday and it went up. It went zoom to the moon. So it had an IPO pricing of roughly $34 per share, but as of the time of filming, it's roughly about $50 per share. It definitely went up quite a bit, which means that Reddit is worth around $6.5 billion. A lot for a thing that people just post their ideas to, where their only real revenue is ads against those people, which they've never been profitable from, and now they are selling your data and the things you type into Reddit to Google for training its AI. Everything is reasonably priced. All of this money makes sense to me. These numbers can only go up from here. I'm sure that's not financial advice. Do not buy based on my musings right now, but potentially buy on the musings of whatever Reece says is on sale.
Yo, welcome back to UFD Deals, bringing the hottest tech deals out on the internet, and hey, how you doing? Starting off today, we have the Fractal Design Meshify 2 mini case for only $59.99, making it $50 off. Then next up, we have this MSI 24-inch 1080p 100Hz monitor for only $69.99 with the included promo code, making it $25 off and a great entryway into high refresh rate. And then lastly, we have this Deepcool LS520 SE 250mm AIO CPU liquid cooler for only $75 with the included promo code. And hey, them's the deals. You can find these and more linked in the video description down below, but until next time, I'm gonna hand you off back to Brett for the rest of your hot news. Cheers.
Well, Reece, let's talk about the big deal that is Neuralink and the brain-computer interfaces that are going to be coming out in the coming years, which allow people to use their brainwaves to actually interact with digital mediums that are in front of them. In fact, the first Neuralink patient went live over on Twitter to discuss some of the things that have been happening since the implant and the excitement that has been brought back to his life, including being able to play Civilization 6 up until 6 a.m. because he was so excited when he first got the implant. There was a demo showing off that he was able to move a cursor in order to play some chess. It's a very intriguing space. I'm definitely looking at BCI for a lot of different things, especially just of sheer curiosity. I actually purchased a consumer BCI device a few years ago, which just kind of does an EEG reading at the back of your head and you can interact with a PC. Neuralink almost kind of looks like that, at least at this stage, but I potentially could get more robust as time develops. But it's an intriguing wave of future that we're moving into. And Microsoft's future when it comes to hardware that they're selling to you is, no, they're not, because they launched their Surface Pro 10 and Surface Laptop 6 yesterday, but they're not going to sell them at regular stores. These beautiful looking machines, this is for business, not for you normal person, because they are committed to consumer devices, but they're building great devices that align with organizations at this moment, which just kind of goes hand in hand with the decreasing popularity and decreasing attention that Microsoft's been bringing to their Surface devices. They quietly launched the Surface Go 4 for business. It just appears that they are slowly marching towards an environment where they're not selling these things at Best Buy or for you to be able to pick them up yourselves. But AMD is picking up how good they are at making the video games look real good. We talked in a previous episode of Hot News that they're working on getting things like work graphs implemented to get a 39% performance improvement with their highest end GPU. But now at GDC, they discussed FSR 3.1, which is going to be the latest addition to their upscaling and frame generation technology, which is going to fix a lot of the things that have been bad about AMD's version of their upscaler, including fixing the flickering and shimmering and fizziness and ghosting. They released several different GIFs that you can check out regarding this spinning gun in Ratchet & Clank, as well as a temporal stability, making it so that it's not shimmering between different things. But one of the biggest announcements is that is decoupling the upscaling from the frame generation. So that means that you will be able to use FSR3 frame generation even if you use what is currently the superior upscaling in DLSS. This is a big deal because that means if you're using XeSS or DLSS and you happen to be running an NVIDIA card for that DLSS, you can still get AMD's frame gen if that happens to be better for you in whatever game that you're trying to play. So currently, FSR 3.1, not supported in many games. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart is the only confirmed one at the moment. Starfield is allegedly supposed to be the next rumored one, but this is a big deal where AMD is giving good technology to the consumer like they typically do, where they make it more open, they make it more sensible, and they make it so that it's better for a lot of different people, even if it's not the perfect solution in every single scenario. DLSS 3.5 might be a better full stack solution, but there might be certain implementations where DLSS gets you the better upscaler, but then FSR's frame gen is going to be better for you in making the games look smoother and faster. Props to AMD for doing this. NVIDIA would never. You're not getting DLSS frame gen on an AMD card unless, you know, the US sues them or something, which we'll see if that happens. But let's see what you said yesterday in the comments of the video. We got Quipper saying, you forgot one thing about the PSVR 2 headset. Eye tracking support. If Sony releases this for the PC, it will be the cheapest headset with eye tracking support. You are right. I did forget that. I missed that completely, and part of that reason that it slipped my mind is because the implementation of eye tracking on the PSVR 2 is just, I forgot because I don't use it. Like on the Vision Pro, absolutely, it's usable, but on the PSVR 2, like the amount of experiences you can have on that device is none. At that point, then you're just looking at the game devs or the software devs to implement eye tracking support, which could be good for whatever people are using it for. But I also think like that feels, and this is just me speaking out of my feels right now, Sony could, you know, have PC support, but with the asterisk of it does not include eye tracking, which would be hilariously bad and frustrating, and Then we got TFZ saying, it would be crazy if Xbox released a handheld. I think most people just want that to happen, right? Like things like the RG Ally or the Legion Go, they're all just bogged down by Windows. You put an actual gaming operating system on here where that's like what most people want to do on this bad boy, and then you're off to the races where hopefully it would be a smoother experience. I look forward to that. Then we got Pretang saying, bro, got a fresh cut. Thank you, appreciate it. But then the reason I'm bringing this up is because Nicholas said last Friday, if I recall, on stream with his 2 homework that on camera look like twins. Kyler?
What the heck?
You're my homework.
Homework?
I think they meant co-workers, but you do look like a twin to Michael. That is a thing. Then we got Gonermy Leggy saying the category of most creative fundraiser was so perfect I had it picked for the Cannonball when I got the email on Tuesday. Thank you, my friend. I really appreciate anybody who voted for us during the Just Giving Awards for most creative fundraiser. Again, this is about raising awareness for SYNGAP and SYNGAP Research Fund to make sure that we are getting our names out there, validating the work that's being done by hundreds of parents across the US and the globe, just to make sure that we can have brighter futures for our kids. And that's the reason I would justify seeking out the award. If this was for best host of a fundraiser, I would not ask you to even look my way for that. Then we got Corey saying, nominated UFD Tech for the creative fundraiser category. Best of luck, brother. Thank you. I appreciate it. And Gonermy Leggies, you got points for your previous one, but this one saying, consoles have been out for 4 years and there has not been a single exclusive worth buying? Meh. Kyler?
Huh?
Gonermy Leggies is saying there's not been a single console exclusive that's been worth buying a console for. You've upset him.
Which console?
The Series X obviously doesn't have anything, but PlayStation 5 I think is really the main one.
Because if we're talking any console,
Yeah,
Pokemon.
we're talking
All of
the
them. I rest my case.
all right. I think that's mainly just it is honestly just a matter of opinion because the game
Genre-defining games on the PS5, you're wrong.
that's it. Like I looked at the games that I've played on the PS5, God of War Ragnarok, Final Fantasy 16,
Banger.
currently Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth,
Banger.
and up until yesterday, Horizon Forbidden West. There's been at least one console exclusive every year that I've poured myself into and absolutely have loved. I expect that to continue to ramp up as we're, 4 years, which is roughly half the life cycle into these console generations. GTA 6 is going to be a massive one. It's going to be a huge console mover. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart as well was supposed to be a really good one. I didn't really play much of it, but it feels like once a year there's a big, exciting game that draws me in that I absolutely love. That's right up my alley, and owning a PlayStation 5 has given me the most fun gaming experiences that I've gotten in the last 4 years. It has been the best gaming platform for me. But you got things like Horizon Forbidden West coming out on PC yesterday, the complete edition. I'm going to play that again on PC because I want to experience it with the best visuals and all of that. So like there are justifications for it. There are more coming. I think it's just a matter of what games you play. And I've played this episode of Hot News out. So I'll see you back here on Monday for more of the hottest tech news.